My cousin's kid got a splinter out of this deck that was the size and shape of a shark's tooth, embedded in her foot. That was a few years ago. Since then, I've been telling my own kids to keep their shoes on every single time they come out here, which if you have kids, you know how well that works. Case in point, right now as I'm filming.
Can I just...
So the deck is getting replaced. Tomorrow, actually. The contractor starts in the morning, which is why I'm filming this today, because once the demo starts, these before shots are gone. Let me show you what we're working with. This deck is over 20 years old and has never, not once, been stained, sealed, or treated. You can see what that looks like. The wood is gray, it's cracked, it's dry, and beyond the splinter situation, dry, cracked, untreated wood this old is essentially kindling. If an ember from a wildfire landed on this deck, this thing could catch fast. That's actually the main reason I'm doing this now, and why I'm calling it step 1 of my Fire Smart plan, rather than just deck renovation. I live in the mountains of British Columbia. Wildfire is not an abstract risk here, and Fire Smart Canada is pretty direct about this. The materials used to build the deck, what's stored on and under it, and the vegetation around it all contribute to how vulnerable a deck will be to ignition during a wildfire. My deck currently fails on most of those counts. There's also this. I'm not a structural engineer, and I want to be clear about that, but there's a support beam here, and where 2 boards are joined together is several feet away from the support post. I don't know how that passed inspection, or if it ever even got inspected, but that ain't right. And I'd rather deal with it now than find out what happens if it fails while someone is standing on it. So let me explain what Fire Smart actually is, because if you're not Canadian, you might know it as FireWise. Same principles, different name. The basic idea is that you create zones around your home and make decisions about materials, plants, and landscaping in each zone to reduce the chance that your property ignites during wildfire. I explain all of this in my video on FireWise landscaping. Check that out up here, or I'll link it in the description below. The deck sits in what Fire Smart calls the immediate zone, right up against the house. Fire Smart BC's guidance on decks is straightforward. Wood is high risk, especially when it's cracked or rotting, and composite materials are moderate risk, a step down from that. I'm replacing this with composite decking, which isn't perfect. Nothing is truly fireproof, but it's meaningfully better than 20-year-old untreated wood. Fire Smart BC also recommends sheeting the base of decks with fire-resistant material to reduce the risk of sparks and embers igniting underneath, and making sure the area under the deck is clear of fuel that can accumulate. You might notice that there's a whole bunch of weeds around the perimeter of this deck. That's also on the list to deal with as part of this project. The other thing I'm adding is a second staircase on the garden side of the deck. Right now, the only way to get from the deck to the garden bed is to walk all the way around the driveway, which sounds minor until you're doing it 10 times a day with tools, with kids, with a flat of plants. A staircase on this side changes how I use the whole property. This is actually where the Fire Smart plan and the garden plan start to connect, because how I landscape around the base of the staircase and the patio that I'm going to put down there, what I plant in or near the immediate zone, what kind of edging and mulch I use, all of that is part of the same decision. Non-combustible materials close to the house, fire-resistant plants, space between plants and the structure. The deck rebuild is the first physical step, but my planting decisions that come after it are just as important. One more thought, guys. If you like any of the shirts you see me wearing, check out my swag shop to get some for yourself. I could really use some help paying for this deck, so please order shirts. So here's what's happening. Demo and rebuild starts tomorrow. I'll document the process as it goes, and once it's done, I'll show you the full before and after. But I also want to do a dedicated video on this Fire Smart plan for this whole property, the zones, the plant choices, and what I'm keeping, what I'm removing, because I think that's actually more useful than just watching a deck get built. If you're in BC or anywhere that wildfire is a real concern, a lot of what I'm working through here is going to apply to you and your property too. So stick around for that. For now, before shots, while I still have them. new beam is in. Looks a lot safer, doesn't it? That black stuff is supposed to keep it from rotting. Like, it keeps water from sitting on top of the wood. So it should prevent the wood from rotting anytime soon. Now, let me tackle the rest of those weeds since I can actually get in there now. You guys know I don't normally wear gloves, but this stuff here is called sticky groundsel, and it's named that for a reason. It's gross, and it makes your hands all nasty touching it. We are done with laying the deck boards. Almost. We still have to lay a little piece in there, and I still need to finish painting the door frame. I was hoping to do that before we started this, and I just didn't get that far. But look at how pretty it is. Oh, I love it. Can't wait to sit out here on my porch and enjoy the beautiful views all around. Ah, beautiful. Check it out. And even better, go up these stairs and across, and I have more stairs. Yay! I love this. I can go straight down to the garden without having to walk all the way around. Isn't this lovely? Oh, definitely a work in progress. There's a lot more to be done. So my contractor said I could fill this in with like a fill gravel or something, but I don't really want to bother because like the next step of our Fire Smart plan is to put a patio here. So I don't want to have to put something in just to have to take it out again. I don't know when we will be able to do that part. It's going to be a lot of concrete and a lot of grading, and that part might get pretty expensive pretty fast. Well, my contractor is finishing up the stairs and the rails and other details. I'm going to start putting together my watering system. I'm going to be putting tubing underneath the deck so that I can put in drip line and not have to water my pots every day. That'll be nice. I'm doing this part on the cheap because I don't want to put in like a permanent irrigation system, and these are a lot more affordable. So I'm just going to plug one of these in and have a hose connecting from the faucet, like from this at the faucet, to the irrigation system over here. I've already done a video on how to use these timers, although the design has changed. So I might have a bit of a learning curve with this one. Here's what it more or less looks like right now. So pretty. Well, that's not great. Okay, I need to check to make sure both of the gaskets are in there. This is dripping. Nice solid drip. Same. Yes. Good. When water leaks like that, that usually indicates a gasket missing. A gasket is this little rubber piece that I happened to find one on the ground after I installed this. It makes sense. It's probably from this spot. That one has its gasket. So does that. We're gonna go set this up and hope it goes off in the morning. I never liked the white rail that was on this deck. I prefer darker colors for accents, so I wanted a black rail. But to replace the rail added another like $5,000 or something. So I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna reuse the existing rail, because the rail itself is fine, I just don't like the color, and spray paint it. So I was going for a plain black, and I ended up buying flat black, but I also saw this other cool bronze black color that has just a little tint of other metallic color if the light hits it just right. So that'll be really cool, but I'm going to do a base coat of black, and then I'm going to put the bronze on top of it. It's still almost a black, but if it catches the light just right, you get a little bit of a bronze copper fleck to it. So I'm not going to do the whole thing in this unless I have enough, but I don't. So I'm just going to do the top rail and maybe the wide vertical bits. And it's still going to be a thin coat. So we'll see how that turns out. This thing is super satisfying. If you have an outdoor task that only requires one hand, put one of these in your offhand. It's a lot of fun. It's almost done. Look at the rail is gorgeous. Couple of touch-up spots I need to make. And I still need to paint this side. But yes, I love it. So pretty. So I was really curious, how fire smart is this new wood? So I have the old wood from the old deck and a little piece of the new PVC composite wood. Okay, and I'm just gonna light them both on fire and see how long it takes it. The old wood is burning, whereas the new wood just melted, but it did melt a lot faster than I expected it to. And this did not catch nearly as fast as I thought it would. I love this deck. I seriously feel like I'm in a resort right now. The plants are beautiful. The deck is gorgeous. I love the way the rail turned out. Made me so happy. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Remember, if you enjoyed this, tell me by hitting the like button. If you have any questions, comments, or if you learned anything, tell me by leaving a comment down below. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe so that you get more gardening content in your video feed every week, including on making your yard fire smart. Thanks so much, guys. I'll see you in the garden.